Welcome back. Monday morning here on Squawk Box Asia. So we're catching up with the report last week. Japan winning a big order to supply warships to Australia's Navy. And CNBC's Lin Lin's been doing a deep dive into why this is such a big deal. And Lin, it's not just about the money. $6.5 billion to start with, and that's nothing to sneeze at.
Certainly nothing to sneeze at, and a milestone deal from a number of levels here. We have Australia confirming now that they have chosen Japan's Mitsubishi Heavy Industries in terms of this flagship naval procurement, and you're seeing some of the concept images. This is the upgraded Mogami-class frigate. Under this deal, 11 will be provided to Australia. 3 of them will be made domestically in Japan, the rest in WA. Keeping in mind that when we think about what Australia's needs are, they are dealing with capability shortages, they have an aging fleet, and they've had many issues in terms of some of their existing contracts as well. In terms of the metrics of this warship here, we're talking about greater range, greater firepower, less crew needed to man the warship, and this is versus as well the major competitor here, which is Germany's ThyssenKrupp. Let's take a listen to how the Defence Minister of Australia, Richard Marles, characterised this deal just a few days ago.
The Mogami-class frigate is the best frigate for Australia. This is currently a frigate which is in service in the Japanese Maritime Self-Defence Force. They operate the Mogami-class vessel. It is a next-generation vessel. It is stealthy. It has 32 vertical launch cells capable of launching long-range missiles.
The two sides now move to the final negotiations. The expectation is that they will be signing that commercial contract early next year. But certainly there are implications for the bilateral relationship, for the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. There is no question that the United States and China, they were watching this deal very closely. If it is successful, it could really open the door in terms of closer cooperation between the two countries in terms of defence arrangements, and also this has huge implications potentially as well for Japan's defence sector as well, which has been very domestic since the end of the Second World War, even with the constitutional change in 2014 as well. So you've got some analysts saying this is a bit of a litmus test as well of what's to come. Indeed.
Let's get value add, Lin, and bring in Kazuto Suzuki, Professor of Graduate School of Public Policy at the University of Tokyo, joining us live from up that side now. Sensei, good morning. Great to see you and a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank
so
you.
As Lin was saying, you know, this deal for the Japanese is significant because it probably marks the biggest and most significant defense order, export order since the Kishida government loosened defense export restrictions back in 2014. The other thing that strikes me, and I want to get your view on this, is this reflects cooperation not just with the U.S. Now this is with Australia. So this is what, Japan's defense cooperation seems like it's broadening.
Yes, indeed. Well, since the commitment of the United States seems to be shaky, I think there are some sort of an alternative way of finding the sort of a quasi-allied partners. Australia is the primary partner for Japan for the defense cooperation. UK as well as Philippines are the two other candidates for the sort of a quasi status of alliance, which does not necessarily mean that we are abandoning the relationship with the United States, but we need to expand our relationship in the region, and Australia is definitely the major partner for Japan in order to increase the deterrence capabilities against China.
So Suzuki-san, in another word, is this about strategic alignment when it comes to China as the primary threat in the Indo-Pacific theatre, and then also the unpredictability of the US President Trump?
Oh, yes, indeed. But that's not the only reason that this deal has made it to a conclusion. I think it is also about the Japanese commitment to develop its defense industry. For many years, as you explained, that Japan after the World War II, restrained from exporting the defense equipments to outside. But since 2014, there are changes of the regulations, which allows much looser regulations on the exports towards the alliance, and to make the international cooperation for defense capabilities is now being considered as a contribution. And also, this is a very significant impact. This has a very significant impact on the defense industry. Which has been very
Indeed.
domestic, as you said, and yes, this is very much of the issue for Japan to expand the export in order to sustain the defense industry.
Right, as you say, do you see this as potentially, a deal that is seen as a bit of a test about Japan's ability as a defense exporter? Do you see other nations watching this very closely as well? And what are the risks here? Because this is a big deal, as we've been talking about. And of course, they are also expanding their upgraded frigates domestically as well for their domestic fleet. Is there a chance that for Mitsubishi Heavy, they could be biting off more than they can chew here?
Yeah, of course, this is a very significant deal because a couple of years ago, actually 5 years ago, the Mitsubishi Heavy also tried to export the submarine, conventional submarine to Australia, which failed against the Germans and the French. So basically, I think this was the very primary lesson that we learned how difficult it is to export our defense equipment. But now, from the experience 5 years ago, the Japanese Ministry of Defense, Mitsubishi Heavy, and the other defense industrial sector understood that this is, they find out how to negotiate with the defense partners, and this again is the first of successful case for that export deal. So I think this will be the stepping stone for the Japanese defense industry to expand its relationship. Although we still have the certain restrictions by ourselves, which is very much difficult to export the kinetic weapon systems, but this type of deal has creating the momentum among Japanese population that to accept that this is the way to go for the defense industry.
And what do you see then, Suzuki-san, to be the major execution risks on the horizon? Because when you look at what domestic Australian media is saying, there's been many issues when it comes to naval requirements, and Australia being a difficult customer, frankly speaking, in terms of needing revisions, delays and so forth. Do you see risks in terms of Australia's shipbuilding industry being up to scratch, and also the skills transfer, the technology transfer that's going to go into this as well?
Well, yes, indeed. I think there are risks all over, and but this is not limited to the Australian case. Any defense export is very difficult, and transfer of technology is also very much of the concern. But a country like Australia, which is a very close collaborating partner to Japan, I think this is a very good test case for Japan to export and transfer technology, building, the shipbuilding capabilities in Australia, and also, expanding the Japanese shipbuilding capabilities together with Australia. So probably, I think this will be giving us more better lessons to learn how to make this very difficult deals and difficult procedures of transferring technologies. And probably, it will be more difficult to, for example, export to the Philippines or even the United States. So I think, this is a very good test case, and this is something that we need to overcome.
Sensei, let's talk about what this could mean potentially for Japan and AUKUS as well. Japan is obviously involved in Pillar 2, not Pillar 1, yes, which would be the submarines, right? I know that MHI makes submarines for the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force, your Taige class subs, but these are diesel electric, and it does not have the technology or the know-how to work on or to build nuclear subs. I know that. But do you think there is still potential for companies like MHI to assist in AUKUS on track 1 to do with things like materials science, and even stealth technology?
Well, Japan has already been involved in the supply chain of the U.S. submarine industry. So I think, to a certain extent, this is a trilateral or multilateral collaboration on the shipbuilding for the nuclear submarine in Australia. I think this deal has separated from the AUKUS Pillar 2, but I think this will give a lot more credibility for Japan to engage in the AUKUS Pillar 2, which is very much focused on the software, cyber, and very high-tech capabilities. And I think, this export of frigate is not just limited to the ship itself, but also the combat systems, the electronic communication systems, command and control. All these technologies are all inclusive to the frigate export. So I think this will contribute to the AUKUS Pillar 2, and I think this, again, will create more coherence and interoperability between the United States, UK, and Australia and Japan.
If this deal goes very well, where do you see the next potential export markets for companies like MHI? There's already been some reporting suggesting that Indonesia is interested as well in terms of these upgraded Mogami frigates.
Yes, I think it is not very clear, but because Australia has a very unique position in the Japanese defense corporation. Probably the closest is the UK, but the UK has its own shipbuilding capabilities. Maybe India. India, of course, is a part of the Quad, and Japan has exported the antenna for the ships, but the entire frigate itself to India, that's questionable. So probably, if the conditions might meet, we can export to Philippines.
Okay, Sensei, listen, we have to leave it there. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. Great value. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Keep safe, and we'll do it again very, very soon. Kazuto Suzuki there from the University of Tokyo.